In this video, I'm going to show the complete installation on a new PC of RoboService. Everything from start to finish. After you set up your PC, you want to make sure you're on a Wi-Fi network and you want to do your updates. Check for PC updates and you want to run those several times until they're all updated. On your advanced options, since this RoboService is based on Microsoft Office 2019, you want to check to update Microsoft products automatically. And I've already updated this PC. You can check it again here. So everything's up to date. Next, you want to remove your junk software and also Office 365. So just do add, remove programs, and go down the list. Games and Xbox stuff. And then when you see Office 365, go ahead and remove that too, because 365 is not compatible. Actually, 365 doesn't even have macro programming ability, at least not advanced enough to run RoboService yet. So Office 2019 is the latest version, which also runs on the PC. 365 is cloud-based, but this is set up for PC-based with unlimited number of PCs synchronizing to the cloud. Next, you want to rename your PC, something that's friendly. So just type rename or view your PC name. And I've already named this one, but you would type it in right there, and then you have to go through and restart. But it's useful to have a name because RoboService, when it works with multiple PCs, it'll create different folders on the share folder for doing logs for like what each PC is doing. Next, you want to get a copy of Office 2019, and you can get it from eBay. Office 365 isn't going to work because it doesn't have Visual Basic enabled. It's a new product. 2019 is the latest Microsoft Office. So you want to search Office 2019 Professional Plus, and typically it's about 65 bucks and for one license. Well, here's for 49. You might be able to find a 3 PC license. And so you buy that, and you typically got to get it in the mail. As once you get it, you can have your product activation or your product ID code. And then next, you're going to go to office.com/setup. And then here, you already have your Microsoft account when you set up your PC. And then here's you're going to enter your product code, going to hit next, and then you let it run through and do its thing. After you install, you can verify your license is good, or just run Word and start a new document. And if your license wasn't valid, it's going to ask you to activate, put in your license, and I've always bought off eBay and I've never had problems. In this video, I'm going to be using RoboService with Google Workspace. And it was previously called G Suite versus Gmail is for free. Workspace is your enterprise software, which we're just going to use the $6 a month version. And you're basically going to get your own domain name. You're going to get shared drive. You can do 30 gigabytes of shared drive. That'll make RoboService work on multiple. You could run it on 1,000 PCs if you wanted to, but RoboService is designed for small contractors, but it uses the same tools, that your Fortune 500 companies would use. And it works with Outlook, and that's the key. Gmail's not going to work with Outlook. You do have to migrate over to Google Workspace or set up a new account on Google Workspace, but it's more professional than Gmail because Gmail is going to have your email address at gmail.com, which is kind of fly by night, shady looking. But when you use Workspace, you can get an official, company website, which you might not even have the website, but at least you'll have the email, of an official website. And any IT person could help you get set up with Google Workspace. I'll have a separate video on that. So from this point in the video, I'm going to assume you already are using Google Workspace on your cell phone. And we're going to go ahead and set up the PC now. Next, let's download all the documentation and also RoboService itself. So first we're going to create a folder, and you could move the folder if you want, but we're going to create a local folder, and I recommend you just stay with the one that is default. So you're going to go to drive C, and then you're going to right click, new folder, and just call it business. And everything related to this contracting business will be in this one folder. And then this folder is also going to get synced with the Google Cloud. For myself, I sync business with Dropbox, but I use Outlook, Exchange, and Dropbox. But this video, I'm to be showing everything with just Google Workspace, which includes file sharing. So we'll just do it with that. Now I want to download all the RoboService files from the Dropbox location. So you're getting this from the video description. I'm just getting it from the document here directly. So we're going to take the Dropbox. We're going to go to Internet Explorer. Put that in the title. And then just get the zip file. And then that'll have all the documents there. You don't really need the source code. We'll just get RoboService set up, right click, going to copy it. Now we're going to paste it in our business folder. Then we'll have everything we need for RoboService. Now PC setup is going to be all our instructions, which I'm doing in the video, but here's the documentation. In an example business folder, this is what we actually want in our business folder. And so we can just take that. I'm going to right click one, hold the shift, up arrows, select them all, just copy them. And then we'll just put it in the C business. So we're in a business folder now, and then paste. And so here's basically all of what RoboService is on the file system, and it's all in one folder, which is business. Now we have our drive that we want to be in the cloud, which is the business directory. Let's go ahead and tie that in with Google now. So right here, let's go google.com/drive, because Drive is a local software, and then download Drive for desktop. So we got our setup here. We're going to install it. We don't need the shortcuts because we're not using Google Sheets is the equivalent of Office, and we're not using Docs. We're just going to be using the drive function here. Now we got to sign into our Workspace account. And after you put in your password, Just sign in. So next, we want to take our business directory that we're creating and we want to put it in the cloud. And the advantage of having it in the cloud is that you can have it on multiple PCs, thousands of them if you want, but typically two PCs, a tablet in the van and then a PC at home. So let's go to Google Drive. You're going to go to Preferences and Folders from your computer. We're going to add a folder. We're going to choose Business, select Folder, and we're going to sync with Google Drive. So they're going to be you're going to have two copies. You're going to have one in the cloud, and the other copy is going to be on your local business directory. I'm going to click Done, and that's it. If we go here, now when you go to the cloud folder, it's going to be on your account, which is this will be your email address at your domain. And then it's going to be Drive, and then My Drive, and then you're going to see what you have synced. You got Invoices. This will be all your customer invoices, which right now we don't have any because we're doing a new install, first time for RoboService. Got Price Book, and this is my Price Book, which you're welcome to use, but of course change the company. And then the RoboService, and then the setup, which will have all the help files, or the installation files. So we have it on the cloud, and we have it local on our business folder. So everything related to this business is going to be in one folder. It's easy to back it up. All you got to do is copy that folder and you got a full backup of your business. Next, we want to configure our security settings for Microsoft Office. So first we're going to run Excel, and let's do that one first. This might seem like a lot of stuff, and it kind of is. That's why I'm doing the video. But if this was a large company, you would have an IT department, and the IT department would take care of this for you. Once it's done, it's done. You don't have to do this again unless you get a new PC. And then you can just reference back to this video for setup. So let's configure Excel. So this is straight from the instructions that I'm reading for Outlook setup with Google Workspace. So step 2, configure Excel security settings. And we're going to go, I guess let's do a blank workbook, File, Options, Trust Center settings. And we're going to do macro settings. And we're going to enable all macros. And we're going to click Trust Access to the VBA Project Object Module. And this allows RoboService to make some settings in Excel. Then we're going to save that by clicking OK. Now we're going to go File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and we're going to allow Developer right there. Click OK, and then we're done. Excel, close that. Now we're going to open the spreadsheet. Don't worry about the year right now. That's easy to fix. So we're going to open that. and then we want to enable editing. And we can see our version here on the spreadsheet. 1.08 is the version. This is a RoboService spreadsheet that you'll be using. Now let's configure Word security settings. So we're going to go to Word, type that in, run Word, and just open a blank document, and then File, Options, and it's the same thing. We're going to go Trust Center Settings. We're going to enable all macros, and we're going to trust VBA project, which is the RoboService, is written in VBA, and click OK, OK, and we're done there. Next, we want to download Google Workspace Sync for Microsoft Outlook. The address is right there. And we're going to do recommended for users. Go ahead and run it. And then you're going to sign into your Workspace account. So it's basically, you're going to grant access to basically everything in your Workspace account. And then switch back. You can ignore all these settings and just click Create Profile. Now we're going to start Microsoft Outlook. And we don't need Google Meet here. Now notice the emails are starting to already migrate in, and you can see it syncing contacts, which you can have thousands of contacts. Each customer is its own contact. And we don't need to see that window. And the nice thing is it also works on your phone. So this is mobile friendly. Next, we want to configure the contact form, because the contact forms are kind of lame that are the default on Outlook. And I made a better form which shows more information. Click File, Options, Advanced, Custom Forms, Manage Forms. Make sure Personal Forms is selected. Click Install, and we're going to choose Custom Form, RoboService Setup, PC Setup, Outlook Setup, Outlook Contacts Forms, and let's choose All Files and Contact. Okay, click Close, OK, click OK. Now we want to set up when we make a new contact that we're going to use the new form. So you're going to click on People, make sure you're in Contacts. We're going to right click on Contacts, Properties. When posting to this folder, Use, and Forms. Now we're going to choose Personal Forms. And then here's the form we just added called Contact. Click Apply, and then OK. And now when we do a new contact, we got a RoboService form, which is version 1.1 right there. Next, we want to enable developer mode. So File, Options, Advanced, Customize Ribbon, and scroll down to Developer, and then click OK, and that'll show Developer there. That's where RoboService will be. So we're going to close Outlook, close everything, go back to our business folder, RoboService Setup, PC Setup, and we're going to get our update batch file, Outlook Setup, and then we're going to do Update RoboService. We're just going to do a right click and we're going to send it to the desktop, create shortcut. And this is what's going to install RoboService on the PC. Now to update RoboService, you're just going to double click on the batch file. Click yes. Now use the space bar and it's going to download. There's all RoboService is in right here in this file. Just click on it once and you want to be able to download it and then save it. So just click download. And then it's right there. So it's already downloaded. Just exit out of your browser, click space again. So we got one file copied, RoboService update completed. And then spacebar just closes it out. Next, let's start Outlook, but let's pin it to the taskbar because we're going to run this a lot. So you're going to right click, pin to taskbar. Now you're going to left click, run Outlook, but notice RoboService isn't running. So we want to enable macros. So you're going to click File, Options, Trust Center Settings, Macro Settings. We're going to enable all macros. Click OK. OK. Now let's close Outlook. Now let's open Outlook. Now, first time it's going to ask where's the root folder, which is going to be the business folder, C, business, and then click OK. And then it showed RoboService 1.51. So we have RoboService running. We can check that again, close it, go back into it, RoboService 1.51. Now that we have RoboService running, let's change all the contact forms to the RoboService form. So we're going to go Developer, Macros, Change Contact Forms. Do you want to change all the forms? Yes. Which forms do you want to change? Now, since the form didn't show up, let's go Options, Advanced, Contact Forms, Manage Forms. Let's install it again. Contact, hit OK, and then kind of click Close, and then OK. Close that out. So we're going to go to Macros, Change Contact Forms, and now it's showing up. The IPM contact. That's the RoboService form. You want to change all the forms. So we have to type that in, IPM. You just do this once. It gets all your contacts nice and pretty. IPM.contact.contact. It's running through all 800, well, actually 627. Now if we open it up, they're all going to be V1.1. Next, let's configure Outlook Calendar, which just some minor changes on that. So we're going to right click on Calendar, going to choose Options, going to set our start time to 12 a.m. and set our end time at 11:30 p.m. That way it shows everything on the calendar for that day. Click all 7 work days and then click OK. Next, we're going to click View, and then we're going to choose Week. Week's a little better. Now we can move over our email. This is our preview pane. Now to store old emails and allow quick search in Outlook, you want to go to the sync, right click, set mailbox size limit, and do unlimited. And that'll put all the emails onto the local hard drive. And you'll still have a copy in the cloud too. Next, let's set our quick toolbar access, which is what we're going to run RoboService forms from. So we're going to go to the mail form. That's going to be our main form. We're going to go File, Options, Quick Access Toolbar, and we're going to choose Macros. And the first one we're going to choose is Open Events Form. I'm going to click Add, and then we're going to choose the symbol for that. I'm going to choose the grid, which is right here. And click OK. The next macro, and these are all documented, is Open Unpaid Form. Choose Add. We're going to choose the dollar symbol, so we're going to modify on the 6th row. Well, this says the 4th row, dollar symbol there. Next, choose the Open Parts form, click Add, Modify, and we're going to choose the Lightning Invoice on the 2nd row, right there. Click OK. So up at the top here, we have our 3 macros. So here's our calendar events. Close that. Here's our invoices, which don't exist yet because we haven't set up our spreadsheets. It's basically erroring out, saying it couldn't find the spreadsheets. And here is our enter parts, but of course that's erroring out because we don't have spreadsheets yet. Next, let's add the contacts macros. So we'll go to contacts, and we'll just open a contact, and we're going to add those up there. So it's going to be File, Options, Quick Access Toolbar, and we're going to we're going to be macros. So Find Contact Activities is the first one. We're going to choose the 3 forms that are 5 rows from the bottom. Right there, oh, they're 4 rows. The next macro we're going to add is Open Billing Form. And then we're going to choose the symbol for that, and that's going to be the piece of paper on the 2nd row, first row there. And then the next one we're going to add is the Convert Notes to Samsung. This is for cell phone compatibilities. I'm going to leave that one off. Sometimes cell phones mess around with the text of the notes. And then the last one is open invoices. I'm going to click add, and that's going to be the $sign. So we're going to modify the symbol for that, and the $sign is on the 6th row, all right there. Click OK. So we have all these. This one's nice. It'll show all the emails for that customer. And you can see all their previous emails. Next, we're going to organize the contacts screen. We're going to go back to contacts, and we're going to go view, reading pane, and just turn that off because it's better just, I find better just to click on it, and then we're going to click view, and then we're going to do change view, and we're going to choose list, and list gives you more information. We're going to do view settings of that list, choose columns, and then we're going to choose all contact fields, and we want to edit our list here where quite a few of these we don't need. Do attachment, flag status, full name, don't need job title, don't need company, file as, don't need country, don't need department, don't need phones, but we do want home address. Add that. We do want modified. That's the time it was modified. Don't need mobile. So we want these fields right here. And then click OK. And then OK. So that organizes a little better. And we can set our spacing a little bit better here. Actually, we don't need home phone. Just get it off right there. Can remove that. If you're doing this setup on a tablet, I highly recommend a Bluetooth mouse because it's really hard to grab these columns and set with your finger. Once you set them, you don't need the mouse. Set up our spreadsheets. So we're going to go to our business directory, which is in a quick access. We can add that. And let's open up air conditioning work. And it's a blank spreadsheet. The version number is 1.08. And if you want to see the history on that, you can double click on it. And it shows the history there. Now, the first thing you want to do is create your current year if it's not 2023. So that's going to be in macros. So you click developer, macros, and then create a new year. And we'll choose 2022 and then click OK. And this is what you also do every year that you use RoboService. You create a new spreadsheet because the spreadsheets are separated by the years. Click yes, and then the macro will run and do its thing. I don't really need this. So when it's finished, it says done. Now notice everything is 2022. Get rid of this tool tip there. So RoboService is going to enter in all your jobs into this spreadsheet, which you can edit anytime that you want. Date, customer, address, job, category. It's pretty straightforward. Total, how much you spent on the job, what your profit is. Now, what you spent on the job, that's for calculating your labor rate. it's kind of an estimate that you put in. Your real expense is going to be from your parts total. And that's going to come from the parts spreadsheet, which is going to automatically update from right here. And then when it's paid, there's an amount that goes there, and then the notes will tell like what type of payment it is. And you can change the amount of, if you want other types of payments, that can be changed in the configuration file, which I could set up the parts spreadsheet next. Close this out, and we're going to do the same thing for parts. We're going to open it. Now, since this is the first time we opened it, we're going to have to click Enable Editing. It wasn't allowed to run its startup because it wasn't enabled. So by closing it out and running it again, the spreadsheet works fine because it's already trusted as a trusted macro. So let's set up the new year for 2022. Developer, macros, create new year, put in 2022, create blank spreadsheet. So now we have 2022. And then we could delete the 2023. We don't need that. So these are going to be our spreadsheets that we're going to use. Now, if you have old spreadsheets where you have to migrate data, I'll have separate videos on that because I do have some tools in there for migrating data, and that's importing spreadsheets. Go to RoboService and set up our first year, which I'll set 20. There's settings in RoboService and any of the version numbers, which is right there. If you click on the version, there's settings. Jobs, we're going to say is 2022 right there. And there's some various things. Here's our folder that it asked when it started for the first time. And then there's also robo notices when it's going to send notices. So we'll just save that. Now we should have, next we have a redundant here of favorites and our emails. So I'll just right click and remove from favorites. And your main folder is going to be inbox, which is going to hold years of emails, sent items, and deleted when you want to look at something. And then here's a separate email account. You can have multiple accounts. It is handy having years of emails because you can show all your warranty registrations from the past. Now let's set up email signatures. So you're going to go File, Options, Mail, then click Signatures. Then we're going to create a new signature, and we're just going to call this Work. And then down here, type in the signature, and we're going to have it for new messages and also all replies. Click OK and OK. So now when we type a new email, so I go to Mail, New Email, it's automatically going to have the signature on it. On contacts, by default, Outlook adds in formatting to the notes. So if I type a web page, it automatically formats. The cell phones can't handle that on the contact notes, and so it ends up adding a bunch of garbage, HTML stuff when you edit on the cell phone, edit on the computer. So the solution is to turn off auto formatting for the notes. To disable auto formatting to prevent corruption of notes, go to the main screen, File, Options, Mail, Editor Options, Autocorrect Options, and we're going to go to Auto Format and uncheck everything. Then we go auto format as you type, uncheck everything. Hit OK. Then hit OK. Now, when I do a contact, it's not going to auto format. So this phone is not going to get confused with the HTML text. It's going to be plain text. Next, let's set the size of the text and font so it's easier to read. Go to the desktop by clicking on the bottom right corner, right-click Display Settings, and we're going to change the size of our text to 150. Now when we go to Outlook, much more readable. Now here my people disappeared when I made the screen larger, and that's because the reading pane on the right is not letting it squeeze, and it doesn't let me move the line. So I'm going to turn the reading pane off. I'm going to go under View, Reading Pane, turn that off, and now it'll allow me to see the people, which is where you would go to your contacts. Let's create categories now for the contacts. So we're going to go to Contacts, make sure we're on Home, and then click Categories, and then we're going to do all categories. Now I'm going to rename the categories. These are your categories that will assign. Click OK to save it. Now when you're looking at all your contacts, the categories are going to show up as a color right here. And blank would be a customer because most of your contacts will be customers. Outlook on the view for the contact is grouping by company, which is kind of annoying to see because most of the customers are just going to be one person per company. So to turn that off, you can Google it because Outlook is used by millions of people, but I'll show in the video here. You're going to go View, View Settings, Group By, and then just have that as none. Hit OK, OK, and then all our contacts show up. And it's going to group by category when you start assigning categories to it, mainly for your personal stuff, and for the losers, they get their own category. Next, let's customize the invoices. So we're going to go to Business, Invoices, Templates, Billing Form. This is the main invoice that's going to be used over and over. Blank invoice. Next, we want to show bookmarks that are used in the invoices. So click File, Options, Advanced, and then go down to Show Bookmarks, and OK to save it. Want to enable editing on it. And here's where you're going to want to change your invoice. This is an image. Just right click on it. You can change that image to your company image. Put in your company information right here. This is my company here. Don't use my company. These are used by RoboService, so you don't want to change this. RoboService should work for European date formats. After you get your invoice set up the way you want, you're just going to save it right there, and you're saving it as a blank invoice. Exit out. So that's your blank invoice. Now here's their email templates. These are commands where it's going to get the first name of the customer, list the invoices. They're in brackets. There's really nothing to edit on this. Court notice. You want to change your company name just right there. Now there's no spell checking because this is Notepad, so you want to get your spelling right. And you can change this as much as you want. Your main thing is the stuff in brackets. That's what RoboService is going to look for. So it's doing a PayPal link, with a paid amount there, which is without the $sign, invoices. But you basically just edit each one of these form emails to how you want it. Final notice. Just go around and edit it. Just don't change the spelling of the commands, which are in the brackets. But it's pretty flexible of, any editing you want to do. And these are all, like I said, different templates. And we got a few more templates, like when the payment is received, the payment of paid amount, which would be the actual payment. Again, these are commands, which are when they're in the brackets like that. But you can edit these emails to whatever you want, and they're used over and over again. Receipt. It's like when you finish a job, you can email them a receipt. And here's some of the billing invoices that run out of Word. I have some cool features on maintenances. It's really specialized for doing a lot of maintenances at condos. I'll have a separate video about that. Receipt, edit that. These are more for maintenance receipts for condos where they want everybody to do a maintenance, and it's really easy to use RoboService on that. This is emailing invoice history. Not much, but you basically want to go through all of the templates and make sure they're set up for your company. And then you also want to, those are going to be saved, to the cloud because they're in the business directory. Next, you can edit the price book. And we have the Excel document. I got system prices and repair list. And the PDFs are automatically generated. So we're going to enable editing. And so it's pretty self-explanatory on the price book. And I have some multiple categories in it, which you can add more. You can change them around. This is for air conditioning. Here's for plumbing. You're typing in a description. And with Excel, it's better to type up in the top here, especially if you're editing it. Like if you want to make it as showers, do it in the top because it doesn't let you edit right there. So if you wanted to say faucet or showers, Control Z. I'm not going to keep that. Your parts, hours. There's a separate worksheet which has your constants, which you do your labor rate, and then your parts markup. And your parts markup covers inflation, changes in the prices, which are happening quite often. Just go through and do that. And then whenever you save it and do File Save, it automatically generates the PDF, which is a nice thing. My repair list PDF here, I'm going to open that with Edge. Edge is a good PDF viewer. You can see now this is a customer-friendly price book. And so you can edit, add whatever you want. RoboService does use that price book. Let's do a test invoice here. So we're going to enter in the month and the year. And a job description. And as long as we're anywhere on the line, we click on New Invoice. And it pulls up the invoice form. Now here we would link the event that we had that with. Do a test job, and it puts the event right there. If you forget to link the event, it'll remind you when you invoice it, or it gives you the option to not have an event at all. And then from the price book, we can look up any of the prices that are in there, but let's just type service call. And then you can change any of the prices anytime you want. So let's just call that $80. Every job takes parts. This is just a rough estimate. This isn't for taxes. This is just to calculate your labor rate on the job. So let's say it took 30 minutes, 120 an hour. Now the category I got from the price book, or you could change the category, and this would help you keep track of things, see what jobs are more profitable than others. I'll just stay with service on that. Now if you had any purchase orders, it would show up here. Purchase orders would be named. And then you could actually view the purchase order hitting the view button. The address is right here. Now the address could also come from the notes. Like this didn't have an address in the notes, so the address came from the contact. If this is a rental property, I would just type rental at 554 Mockingbird, and then it'll actually figure out from the line where the job was. If I hit load, it's going to pull up that address and stick it in there. But I need to finish the address. Well, I'm just showing you there. I'll just leave that blank. Go back to my contact address. If they paid, you would put that here. You'd put how they paid, and this is all customizable in the configuration file. And go ahead and invoice it because it wasn't paid. So now it's going to jump over to Word, and notice it used the blank invoice, which was partially edited, and then it copied the description from the price book, or you could change this to any description you wanted, manually. The job was fixed. And the date is right here. You could change the date if you want, but if the date's in the invoice number, which notice the invoice number is the month, the day, and the year, when I go ahead and save it and email it, it's just going to prompt an error. So we'll make sure that those match. Let's save it and email it. Now it's saving it to a PDF, which is right here. And we have the email. Now that customer didn't have an email address, so there's not going to be much point in sending this. But if I double click on the actual PDF invoice, notice the couple things were hidden here. It doesn't show the macro and the RoboService stuff, and just a regular invoice. But let's cancel that out. We're not going to save changes. So now we actually have a job. We're back to our main screen. We have an unpaid job here of $80. There's the total. If we want to see that job, double click on it, and it takes us to the customer. If we want to see all the invoices from this customer, just click on the $sign and it'll pull up all the invoices. And you can change the years with plus and minus keys. But if I go back, hit tab, my first year is 2022 because we don't have any spreadsheets yet. So that works fine. When the customer sends in a payment, you go to your main screen, you go to your money symbol, which is your unpaid invoices. You put in the amount, but let's say I put in $79, like a wrong amount, and let's say they sent a check, a mark paid. It's saying they need to select the invoice, mark paid. The amount is smaller than the amount due. Do you want to continue? Congratulations, setup is complete.